Science technicians are an integral part of the modern classroom, but their professional development is often overlooked. Today, however, that state of affairs is about to change for two technicians at Manor School in Poppleton. Simon Quinnell is Professional Development Leader at the National Science Learning Centre in York. His challenge is to transform the working lives of Sue Smith and Julia Raper.
When you're a teacher, you often, during your PGCE, you go into schools, you're given training to cope with children, how to deal with them and everything else. For a technician, you get absolutely no training whatsoever before starting as a technician. You don't have to do any courses. Sometimes the minimum qualification is a GCSE in a science subject.
An ex-school technician himself, Simon will be watching a day in the women's lives in order to tailor-make a training package to best suit their needs.
What will be Julie's job for the day? She would spend all day washing up and we have more constructive things for her to do than that.
It's the beginning of another routine day at Manor School, and Sue and Julia are getting ready for the usual round of prepping demos, chasing down textbooks and washing glassware.
You need to clear some of the stuff off the trolley.
The pair have worked together for over a year now and have a lot in common.
In actual fact, we're both the same age. We're both born on the same day. Both left-handed, and both got children called Sam, and both done I did a really obscure course. I've never met anybody else ever done this course, and Julia had done it. Spooky.
Separated at birth.
She's lovely, yeah.
I'll go away, you can tell later.
No, she's very kind and helpful, because I do get stuck on things, don't I?
Do you know, all my life I was victimised for my handwriting. Do you know, I don't know what it says.
But the cosy world of the prep room is about to be changed forever.
The school's likely to expand from 640 to 900, and we're looking to take on more technician hours, and that will be a greater level of responsibility for both the technicians. And the idea of actually fully utilising the technician skills so that they can actually get out there and demonstrate the lessons, to me is a very exciting and a natural development within the life of the school.
I'm really, really looking forward to the new school.
The school has big ambitions to offer a dynamic modern science curriculum. And this means the technicians will be required to play a much more active role in classroom science. Julia is going to be taken on as a full-time technician, while Sue's job will change to include a lot more classroom demonstrating. It's vital that both of them get further training if they are to fulfil their enhanced roles within the school.
It's a totally different thing than any other science you'll ever do, because we all have our own specialties, and most schools, and you're expected to be all things to all people, anything from physics, biology, chemistry.
I prefer the biology because like Sue, I've got more experience in that, more history, and the chemistry's not too bad, but we're both as bad as each other with physics, so we do struggle a bit with physics.
Although they both have previous experience of working in labs, being a school technician requires a completely different range of skills.
Even though I've done lab work before, doing this is totally different.
But you're obviously competent in a lab, you know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, but it's just the special, let's say the physics and lots of the courses that they do.
I've been a science technician since 1983. I've started working in medical research, a private company doing genetic toxicology testing. I've done market research. I used to be an Ann Summers lady, and I was in one of the top 10 in the Yorkshire region.
So Julia, how long have you been here? About a year?
2 years.
2 years.
I started September 4.
Presumably you enjoy it?
Yeah. It's nice coming to work, and it's a nice atmosphere. And
both Julia and Sue obviously enjoy their work. They certainly don't do it for the money. Rates of pay for science technicians don't compare with those in industry or those for teachers.
Well, I don't know much about myself. Sue knows more than me. I'm on scale 1, aren't I? Is that right?
Yeah.
I think, is it for clerical as well? It's not just scientific stuff, or is it?
No, they rationalised, about 10, 15 years ago, before I went into schools, they did actually rationalise the pay scales. Traditionally, back in the 60s and 70s, technicians' pay was pegged to be at a level of an NQT teacher, which would be absolutely fine. But then as the 70s rolled into the 80s, I think the pay councils were abolished, and that's when we really started to fall behind. I think it would surprise some of the teachers if they actually knew how little we got paid.
It's no secret that there's a shortage of science teachers, and a technician demonstrator is an obvious asset to any science department. Sue feels that more could be done to address the serious shortfall in science technicians.
the government white paper at the moment, which I actually read the other week, makes a lot of mention of science teacher recruitment and retention and paying them bonuses. I think science technicians possibly got one mention right at the very, very bottom. Science needs science technicians.
You realise very early on that if you're going to get the very best out of your science department, a vital part of the team are the science technicians. They're absolutely essential to make the whole team operation work. No science teacher in the right mind would be anything other than supportive and encouraging of their science team.
So I'm going to make some urine. So we can actually, if I'd had more notice, I would have done this properly, but I'm just going to squish a tea bag in some cold water. And it's convincing enough for the kids, especially if you drink it at the end. So I'm just going to quickly... Isn't that amazing? Instant wee. And you can always try and persuade the kids that you've actually just been and made it and then drink it, and they really, really go, oh, it's quite fun. I've just been and made that. I really enjoy helping the kids and whatever, and you were considered as much a member of staff as any of the teachers. So in consequence, we have a discipline scheme, but we also have a reward scheme. Can put children in detention. Put her down, you don't know where she's been. We're a member of staff just as much as teachers, and that we get the same respect off the children. Do your tie up, top button tie. I'm just going to go and have a look at my list and see what we've got to go out next.
Time for some first impressions of what needs to be done from science guru Simon.
Well, you can see that Sue doesn't lack confidence necessarily in talking to teachers and Julia and students when she's walking around.
But Julia's a different kettle of fish.
Excuse me, please.
How much interaction do you have with the kids? Because if you're in...
As little as possible, I think it's the phrase. No, I don't tend to see a lot of them really. I don't tend to go in the classrooms when teaching's on.
Is that a preference, or is that just...
That's a preference, yes. I mean, the kids here are fine. You know, they're okay, but it's just easier.
And tell me about demonstrating.
I don't. It's not something I've done, put it that way.
Would you like to, or are you happy not?
I'm happy not to. I'm happy to be in the background, really.
So what does Simon make of Julia?
Because I think she's only working limited hours a week, so therefore she's not had enough time to actually build the technical skills. Often all she seems to be doing is, as we've seen there, chasing around for textbooks. But she also seems to be just washing up.
By contrast, Sue likes nothing better than to get up in front of class and demonstrate her science skills.
I feel that the technician's role is evolving. I like getting involved in the kids, and I like doing that, and it's really, really gratifying when the kids come and say, oh, miss, that was fantastic, thank you.
They get from that she wants to learn more about doing demonstrations and going into the classroom, especially chemistry, and she's a bit wary of physics and helping to perform physics and helping the teacher do it as well. So I think with Sue, it would be quite easy, really, to just help her build confidence in using physics and chemistry equipment for demonstrations. I don't think that is as big a problem. And also, if we help Sue to do it and build her confidence doing it, and maybe that would lead on to Julia as well.
And do you think you could get Julia to demonstrate by the end of the week?
I don't know. That's quite a hard thing to judge. We could maybe get Julia to help with the demonstrations in front of the class, but trying to build somebody's confidence and their abilities up to actually stand up in full class and talk to a large group is very hard.
Simon has his ideas about what Sue and Julia need, but what do they think?
I'm looking forward to it. I do like new things. I do like, it's quite interesting. Be interesting to see what they get. Personally, I hope not the Van der Graaf, my least favourite bit of equipment, because it never worked properly.
How are you feeling about tomorrow?
Slightly nervous.
Of what?
I'm not quite sure what we're doing, to be honest. That's the thing. So, but I'm sure once we get there, we'll be fine.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, be a nice day out.
No screaming kids.
No screaming kids, and get a nice lunch.
And Simon has to take into consideration some other views as well. Those of head teacher Brian Crosby.
The best outcome would be that the technicians could start to feel confident to utilise the skills they've got already and to develop other skills that they might not realise that they have. I'm not trying to turn the technicians into something that they're not. They might not feel confident to be a classroom practitioner, a classroom teacher, but If they have got the ability in there, I would like to see it develop to the highest level that we possibly can within the school.
It's the day of training, and Sue and Julia arrive at the National Science Learning Centre.
Good morning. I'm Sue.
Hi, I'm Simon Pennell, the Senior Technician.
Fantastic.
Hi,
Julia.
Hi, Julia, I'm Simon.
Nice to meet you.
So you were here at the National Science Learning Centre, and we're going to do some training workshops with you today. So, shall we get started and walk into the labs?
To get Sue and Julia in the mood, Simon decides to kick things off with a bang.
About 40 mils of propan 2L is just add it to, pour out the excess solution. Put this on the floor.
Oh my God.
What was it that you actually wanted to do today?
Be nice to have some new chemistry demonstrations, really.
Okay, well we've got a couple of good chemistry demonstrations.
Fantastic.
We're also going to bring that Van de Graaff and try a few new things with that. And Julia, what we are hoping to do today is actually doing a bit of soldering so you can actually solder some equipment. And also a bit of glass bending as well.
Yeah, I've never done that. That'd be good, yeah.
Helen is one of our experienced technicians here. She's been a senior technician in a local school for some years. So she'll show you some soldering techniques and what to do.
Whilst Julia gets down to some soldering with Helen, Simon and Sue start to develop some chemistry.
What we're going to do first is the methane mamba.
Fantastic.
Now, you have to do this with mains gas. It has to be methane.
Yeah.
Some schools have bottled gas, and you can't do with that because that's heavier than air.
And it sinks.
It sinks. And also, some other gases are a lot more volatile.
Yeah.
So you can only do this with natural gas. So what we've got is our cup drinks bottle with a bit of glass tubing, and we've got a solution of 70% water, some 20% washing up liquid, and the rest glycerol. So if we turn the gas on, there we go. Now I'll put my goggles on. So what we want to do is just have a column of bubbles going up. So what we do is, I always find it's easier to have a lit Bunsen flame somewhere.
Should I stand back?
I think you're fine there because the flash from the methane's quite fast. So what we do is we just, with a clean bit, we let it rise up, and then we just ignite it like that. One other thing I just want to show you with this is if you roll your sleeves up.
This is going to be too nasty, is it?
No, this is going to be fine. This is something that's quite safe as long as you roll your sleeves up, have your goggles on.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is to wet your hands. Scoop up the bubbles on the top there in your hands, just like this. This is something that I would recommend only teachers and technicians do. I wouldn't recommend doing it with students necessarily. And there we go. And you can feel the
Sue
heat.
proves to be a dab hand at the methane mamba, but how's Julia getting on with her soldering?
Now normally soldering is probably done in the prep room. Strip the end of the wire really cleanly. Yeah, have a practice. Lean it against the wire. Okay, we leave it there for a while. So I'm going to put a plug on this one. Okay. Yep. Do you want to have a go?
I'll have a go.
Okay.
So what we have here is a flame test.
Yeah.
I'm using this camping stove. So what you do, and this is lithium chloride,
Okay.
is just spray it into the flames. What you can do is you can turn the lights down a little bit. So do you want to have a go?
I certainly do.
Strontium's probably the nicest colour. There we go. It's a lovely red.
Now I know what my teachers will do.
Well,
They'll go like that.
yes. And you can see it's quite dangerous.
I can see why.
So
I mean,
they have to, again, when you go back and you actually tell them this method, the best thing is to actually show them themselves and just warn of the consequences of actually doing it too much.